I'll prepare a letter and mail that to you today.
Okay.
And what I'll do is I'll send half of the security funds back to you. Let me just see here. I think you set up direct deposit after our last call. Let me just
Yeah, I did.
get into it and confirm. So we would be direct depositing to your CIBC account that you set up on July 12th.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so I'll send half of the funds back to you, and then if you could just pay the two starting August 1st. There's a few years till James turns 19, so we'll do a review right before he turns 19. But yeah, I just wanted to return your call, and I saw your message, so yeah, happy to do that for you.
Okay, I appreciate it. Yeah. Are you my new caseworker then? It was Richard or Richard was.
No, it is still Luke. He's been away for a bit, so I've just been helping out.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah, so in about a week or two, he should return to managing this file.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. I'm just curious because I've had I've had so many caseworkers I've lost count.
Yeah, and you know what? Our agency just keeps growing, and sometimes we do have to shuffle files around, but you'll always get the same service. Okay. So I'm happy to help you today.
Okay, perfect. And you said your agency is growing. Is there more and more parents that are getting enrolled in FMP?
Yeah, anyone can enroll in the program. It is a free program for anyone to enroll with.
Yeah, no, what I asked was, is there more and more? Are you guys noticing an increase in parents being enrolled in the Family Maintenance Enforcement Program?
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Is there any kind of reason for that? Like, why is that? It seems like almost like a growing business. I'm curious.
I don't have information. It's a voluntary program, so people can...
People can what?
Enroll whenever they'd like.
Oh, okay. Whenever they would like.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah,
so
no.
We'll arrange to send that money to you today. It will probably, if I send it now, half of the $9,690.94. I'll send that, and I'll send you a letter confirming that we stopped monitoring maintenance for...
Okay.
All right.
All right. Yeah. No, I was just trying to keep you on the phone here because I'm curious about Family Maintenance Enforcement Program. As you know, there's it's a huge burden on parents to go through the Family Maintenance Enforcement Program when they were more than willing to pay child support. More than willing, it's in my case, eager to pay child support. Yet, you guys came down pretty oppressive on me and almost drove me to suicide, which we've had this conversation before with FMP. So if there's a new direction for FMP, and the new direction I was under the impression was to be more open and communicative, communicate better with parents, but now I'm understanding that the program's even expanding instead of retracting.
Any information you'd like about our agency is on our website, okay? I do need to go. I do have another call coming in, but anything can be found on our website for any updates and any changes, okay?
Well, I do monitor your website and look at your website, and I have not seen any indication that the Family Maintenance Enforcement Program is expanding, but I have noticed in the news that even last week, I believe a mom, has kidnapped her children and is now, RCMP believes she's living in the forest, and there's an Amber Alert on her. Instead of having... I
can only talk about your file, sir.
And why is that? And why is that? Is it because the government works kind of in silos and one hand doesn't know what the other hand is doing? Because it's pretty important. I mean, you guys are responsible.
I don't know quite what you're talking about. I'm happy to talk about your file with Crystal, but going any further outside of that, I will not be engaging in conversation with that. I do have other calls I do need to make.
Well,
I will arrange to send that money to you.
I will reiterate. I will reiterate that FMP almost drove me to suicide. Like, I was completely suicidal. I ended up getting sick with a heart condition. Was the only reason I wasn't able to go through with the suicide, and that directly relates to my file in FMP. So can you speak of that?
I understand that you spoke to your case manager, Luc Richard, about that, and if you do need any medical assistance, I definitely think that you should seek that. I am going to leave now because I do have other calls coming in, okay? I need to transfer the money to you, and I need to prepare that letter, so I will be doing so now. And if you have any other questions, you can send it through our website, okay? Thank you.
Well, it's not okay. Did you just hang up on me, FMP? So FMP, which is the British Columbia government, tells us that mental health is really important. The federal government has started a bunch of, I think there's a 166 number or something like that you can call now that just was announced by the federal government of Canada because the suicide rate is so high in Canada. And right now I'm just speaking to my audience here because Jill from FMP, which is my intern caseworker, has hung up on me in the middle of me talking about suicide, right? And as I explained to people before, that the family law judicial system combined with the provincial government's FMP program put me at death's door. Like I was like, I don't want to even go into detail right now how close I was to suicide. I was literally inches away from suicide. And so again, I say that, the federal government claims and the provincial government claims that suicide is a big deal. Mental health is a big deal. Yet Jill has just hung up on me. And that's massive. So, I am not under distress anymore. I'm a outspoken advocate of mental health related to the family law industry and the oppression and the dysfunction and the greed within that system. But, these kind of conversations with the government that really show that they're literally full of shit. They have no intention. Well, maybe they have intent. I don't know. Intention. What? There's no palpable help for Canadians going through the family law industry. It is an industry, but going through the family law system when they come up against needless oppression, and just bullying. So in my case, my lawyers, and two of them now have been disbarred from the law industry by the BC Law Society, and it was in the newspaper. But I had made waves regarding these two individuals early on, and there was even a third and a fourth who had tied up a lot of my money and filled their pockets with my money. More money that ever went to my children in child support, which I have to mention. More money went to lawyers and judges than ever went to my children for child support. They basically ate up my kids' university fund. Just horrible people in this industry. But I just lost my train of thought there. I just, I find it unhealthy for Canada to be selling us the idea that they care about mental health when they absolutely 100% just want to cover their asses. And so we still have oppression by the Family Maintenance Enforcement Program. Fortunately now, this is some years later than when I went through the heat of it, right? So that was back in 2012, 2013 when I was extremely distraught. And now I'm, spoken advocate and I rock the boat. I rock the government's boat, and they hang up on me. And this is Jill. I will put a complaint in about her. And what happens is they just ignore these complaints. So anyone from the BC government right now can do pretty much anything they want. They hang the phone up on people, and then you put in a complaint about them. And I'll post this on various platforms out there on the internet, so people can see this, right? They can see what's really going on. And as I've been just told, FMP is expanding, and as I know from research, more and more parents are being pushed to suicide, and some are even breaking down and continuing on with murder-suicide. That's the murder of their child and their own personal suicide. Some have murdered their child, planned to commit suicide, and never got around to it. There was a woman in New West recently who smothered her child with a pillow. denied 50-50 custody, and then when you don't get 50-50 custody, you end up having to pay child support, and FMP then comes after you, and they take your driver's license away, they take your passport away. They go into your bank accounts. They have unlimited power. They go into your, and I'm speaking personally what they did to me. I went to bank accounts, froze all my money. I was literally homeless. I was literally buying a bag of apples and living on that all week. Fortunately, I know how to eat, very frugal. I've had my ups and downs in lives. I'm doing actually quite well right now. But, it's, emotionally I'm talking about, I just learned how to live frugal in a highly, highly corrupt country, highly oppressive country is such as Canada. But, so I was just rambling on about there is a lady right now who was denied custody of her own child. Can you imagine the emotional burden that is? And she's now running around with her kids. She's living in the bush. We don't know what's going to happen. It's only been 5 days in. They haven't found her. But what I was talking about, the oppression is still on me with FMP, is what we were just talking about there was FMP said, well, you're a parent, and we don't trust parents in the courts, and you got enrolled in the Family Mace Forest program. So after taking my driver's license, after taking my passport, after freezing my bank accounts, after giving me punitive fines and keeping the money for themselves, which is absolutely disgusting, because I couldn't pay my child support. And the reason I couldn't pay my child support is because my lawyers were digging into me and just basically bleeding me as I was fighting for access to my children. They were just taking advantage of the situation, which is extremely common in Canada, in the judicial system and the family law judicial system, which is so adversarial. And all I was fighting for was just 50-50 access to my children. And then I said, okay, I won't ask for 50-50. All I want is what's called the Joyce model, which is to see my children every second weekend, right? So 2.5 days out of 14 days is all I was asking for, and still I had to fight for that. But FMP said, wait, you're a man. We can't trust you. Now that you got over the hump and, you were able to pay your child support, we still don't trust you, so we're going to make you pay a security deposit. So what they did is they made me pay $10,000 cash to them, which they keep in their pockets, and I still pay child support on top of that. And it's called security in case I ever miss a payment. Now, you got to remember, I missed these payments back in 2012 and 2013. I missed 3 payments because I literally had no money, right? I was, like I said, surviving off apples, and I was homeless as I was going through this. And remember, I had a nice house prior to this, right? I had a very new vehicle, which I ended up just selling last year, right? So I had that same vehicle for 21 years. But it was just absolute hell. And but still, in 2023, FMP still says, even though you haven't missed a payment in, I can't even do the math here, over 10 years, I haven't missed a payment, not even close to missing a payment. They still say that I have to have this security deposit just in case I ever miss a payment. So, but they've halved it now because one of my children have aged out of the child support system. And it's sad. It makes me sad because if he had gone to university, I would still have to pay child support. But the lawyers ate all our money. And as much as I paid, my ex-partner, who, I feel a lot of sorrow for her because she got sucked into this and kept it going for so long, this whole, denying me access and stuff and using the courts as a weapon. She also fell victim to the highly, highly corrupt family judicial system, in that the well over $100,000 that I had to give to lawyers and judges, plus all the lost time for work, plus all the stress, she must have gone through an equivalent to that. So people like to say, well, it's man versus woman, and maybe the mom should get all the rights to the kids and the dad should get all the rights to the kids. It shouldn't be a he-she. This should be 50-50 and what is right. But that's not what our government, and that's not what our judicial system, which is run by the federal government, want. They want it as adversarial and nasty as possible so parents can get milked for every dollar they have. And in my case, my kid's not going to university, thank God, because I don't have enough money to put him through university anymore. Although I would, if he decided to go to school, I would help him with his university. But, my kids were largely victim to this family law industry and FMP in that they went through a lot of emotional turmoil, and I believe that's why, they don't have the drive to go to post-secondary institute of their, whatever, a college or a university, which is just so sad what we're doing to this country. I and Mom both have post-secondary education. Why don't my kids? Because of my government, my highly adversarial, nasty government, and phony government. They're just absolutely phony balonies. They say they care about kids. They say it's the best interest of the children, and they say they care about our mental health. Yet, I just spoke to Jill from FMP, and that's what you get. You get a hang-up. You get excuses why they can't talk to you. They say they're really busy because they just create more problems for themselves by just by getting involved in our lives, right? They didn't need to do this to me. I was more than willing to pay child support. But the good news is my good, bad news, sad news is that my oldest has turned 19 now and decided not to go to post-secondary, so I don't have to pay any more child support. What should have happened is I should have had 50-50 custody. I could have showed him the importance of an education, whether he wanted to get in the trades, whether he wanted to, push a pencil, whatever he wanted to do. I would have been perfectly okay with that, but at least gave him the drive to, do something, right? With his post elementary or post, high school days, right? And now he's just wandering aimlessly. Don't know what he's doing. I haven't seen my kid in 4 years, so I don't know what he's doing actually. So, it's a really, really broken system, and I am one of hundreds of thousands of parents that are going through this. This FMP program is massive. It's created because the judicial system needs the money to inject into our economy, which is the federal government injecting all this money into the economy by creating an adversarial system, which clogs up our court system, which doesn't make room for criminals. So the criminals get put into the court and then flipped right back out of the court, not go to jail, no repercussions. So they just do more and more. There's guys out there with rap sheets that are I seen one the other day. It was 14 pages long. When I see somebody in the news who is a repeat offender, I always look them up on the CSO website, right? And this one guy had 14 effing pages of crimes, petty crimes. Yeah, he's down and out. He's a broken person, but there's no help for him. So the system just keeps rolling him through. But the system's plugged up with highly corrupt judges, highly corrupt lawyers, wringing money out of parents like us. But they use the same form, right? Remember, these are the same judges that try murder cases, try rape cases, try all these serious cases. These are the same judges. I went in front of the same judges. People think the family law judges are some different kind of people. No, they are the exact same judges. I mean, I watched in the newspaper some of the judges that I went in front of that were condescending, mean, nasty, two-faced, belittling, horrible, horrible people. And then I see in the newspaper that they made a ruling on some other thing outside the realm of family law, which is civil law, right? It was a criminal element of some sort they were ruling on. So these are the same judges. Our courts are just packed. I believe Canada's failing, but that's just what I see. Maybe I'm pessimistic. Honestly, I live a pretty good life now. The one thing I'm fortunate about Canada is you can fight your way out. You can, like me, I haven't seen my kids in 4 years. I stopped fighting in the courts. I stopped giving the lawyers money and the judges money because there was no end to it. It was just an empty money pit, and they were just rude, condescending, and they made it clear, They made it clear that, they all used to say, come back again, come back again. It was like just a big joke, right? And but I see Canada falling apart, and I see one of the main reasons we're socially falling apart is our federal government, and the federal government runs the judicial, whether it be family court, criminal court, or the civil courts, are all the same. And then that's the Supreme Courts they run. But the provincial courts, and I have watched a few cases in provincial courts where the judge has referred to federal regulations or acts and basically follow suit with the federal government. So basically it's a hierarchy where the PMO, a small group of people, run this country, but they're running it right into the ground. And then these Jills, they're not able to do anything, so they just hang up on you. She didn't even bother giving me a number I could call if I was gonna like throw a rope around my neck or whatever. I could possibly be a distraught parent. I will say for the record, now I'm not. I'm pretty jaded, but I live also a pretty good life because I worked damn hard. I got really lucky. I didn't commit suicide. I became an outspoken advocate, and most of all, I just got lucky. I don't drink, I don't smoke. And I lived through it. It was hell. It was an eye-opener. But, so that's all I got to say about the Family Maintenance Enforcement Program of British Columbia.